Hi, girls and boys! So, in my previous mini lesson for our reading this week, I was talking about how readers pay attention to special language when they're reading and try to figure out what was the author trying to show me. They were showing me something special. So, we take our time with those passages and try to figure out what the author was trying to tell us. Now, today, I want to teach you that when an author describes something by suggesting that it's like something else, like in a comparison, and that other thing might be quite different, the author is expecting you to bring those two different things that are very different together in ways that make brand new, made for the moment meaning. So I'm going to read a bit from the book Come On Rain, and I was noticing some comparisons in this book when I was reading it earlier. So let's look for those comparisons and try to figure out what the author of this story was trying to tell us.
I'm reading from Come On Rain by Karen Hess with permission from Scholastic. So on this page, I see the narrator comparing herself to a potato. She says, "I am sizzling like a hot potato." So I'm thinking, does that mean she's a hot potato? She's going to get a bunch of ingredients piled on her, like sour cream and chives and bacon bits? Or is it something else? And then I see that this comparison continues on over on the next page. And it says, "Up and down the block, cats pant. Heat wavers off tar patches in the broiling alleyway." And I'm tuning into that word broiling because it reminds me of what's happening in this other comparison. There's a broiling alleyway, and on the previous page, she says she is sizzling like a hot potato. So I've got sizzling, I've got broiling. I'm starting to think of an oven, and I don't know if you've ever felt close to an oven when it's broiling, but it's very, very hot. That's when it can be quite dangerous and hot inside. So I'm thinking the author here wants me to think about how hot an oven is, and she's comparing the heat of an oven to how hot it is on this summer day. Now, the author could have just said it was a hot summer day, but instead she decided to use these comparisons, and that's because when she uses those comparisons like a hot potato, the broiling alleyway, it really helps the reader to imagine it, and I can feel that heat. I can just imagine how hot it is way more powerfully than if she just said it was a hot summer day.
Now that we've tried that with one book, I'd like us to try it with another book. So we're going to take a quick look at the book When Sophie Gets Angry, that some of you might know, and we'll take a look at some more comparisons in that book.
I'm reading here from When Sophie Gets Angry by Molly Bang with permission from Scholastic. So this page says Sophie is a volcano ready to explode. And when Sophie gets angry, really, really angry. So let's tune into the comparison. Here the comparison is Sophie when she's angry and a volcano. So we have to think about why is the author talking about that. So I'm going to think for a minute about a volcano. Here are some things I know about volcanoes. One thing I know is that they're very dangerous. So I think one thing the author's trying to show us is that when Sophie's angry, she can be dangerous. And another thing I know about volcanoes is that sometimes you don't even know when they're going to erupt. So they might just look like a quiet mountain, and then surprisingly, they can suddenly erupt and be dangerous. So I'm wondering if sometimes Sophie is in a green zone, she's feeling her normal self, and suddenly she erupts and she's so angry. So again, the author here, Molly Bang, could have told us Sophie gets really angry. She's dangerous and it comes out of nowhere. But instead, by offering us this comparison, it can really help us to imagine what that's like and help us to picture what it's like when Sophie's angry.
I want you to use those strategies in your reading this week. You'll be looking for that special language like we talked about in our last mini lesson, and especially pay attention to those comparisons when the author's comparing two things that are different, and you'll have to sit and think about what is the author trying to tell me by bringing these two things together. Have fun reading, grade 2s. Bye!